Barnett said it best when he stated that we need to prepare our students for an unknown future with the skills that they will need. Literacy is no longer simply being able to read and write, it is being able to create meaning from a range of various texts. Thrown into this mix is the social worlds that our students now live in: Facebook, Pinterest, online gaming. As teachers and guardians, we need to teach them to deal with this world, evaluate the situations that they find themselves in, and ensure that they can see the positives, negatives, and threats that they come across. So what is literacy in the 21st century, and who in the school is responsible for teaching it? We do our students a disservice if we do not see the true depth of what literacy is. Our regional office defines literacy as the following in the position paper for Catholic schools. That is, that students become literate as they develop the knowledge, skills, and dispositions to interpret and use language confidently for learning and communicating in and out of school and for participating effectively in society. And it says that all teachers are responsible for the teaching of literacy and language across all subject areas. But as educators, we cannot stop there. We need to help our students engage with the types of text they are used to, the types of text that they will be using in their day-to-day lives. As English teachers, we need to not only teach them the skills that they need to read and write for NAPLAN, but also how to evaluate the validity of online texts, to understand that their visual or online creations have as much meaning as the written word. Our faculty needs to understand that it is no longer enough to have the knowledge of English and literacy. We need to be facilitators for our students in their learning. This is in no way suggesting that we get rid of the basics. If these are not in place, then there is no gain to be made. The first thing that we need to reconnect with is that each student in our class learns differently, and we need to meet these different learning styles. As Healy states, there are differences in learning styles between individuals, and all students must be catered for, and it is only when each student's way of learning is acknowledged and respected that true and deep learning can occur. There is a simple equation that Healy presents. That is, that information plus individual way of knowing equals applicability for the individual. Again, when programming for English and literacy, we need to ensure that there is a clear variation and mix of activities, one that highlights the multimodal and multiliterate environment that we are living in. As Prensky said, our students are digital natives, and we risk school becoming a place where they learn nothing and do not engage if we do not utilize the technology that is available. This means we need to do more than simply use word processing and PowerPoints. Calantis and Cope break down the steps that we need to take. Firstly, connect to the students as individual learners and in their social life and worlds. Value how students are most comfortable in expressing themselves. Engage all types and styles of learners and be student-centered. Ensure that both teachers and students are actively involved in the creation of learning. Evaluate. We still need to ensure that there is a way to provide adequate feedback for the students in our class. We cannot forget that we have to meet the needs of NAPLAN, especially now that NAPLAN is inherent in making or gaining a HSC. We have to build, more than ever, the authentic assessment policy of the Sydney Catholic Schools into our program. That is assessment for, of, and as learning. We need to take into account the fact that even with multimodal responses, students are still needing to make choices about the effect their language, their images, their sound, or their layout will have, to make choices to understand the effect that their selection will have on their responder. They need to be taught to locate, evaluate, and synthesize. Our new HSC is aimed at learning skills, not simply rote learning, but text and formulaic responses to the module. Let's reframe who we are as literacy teachers. And yes, I know that literacy is a whole school approach, but we are also at the coalface with this. Our students will benefit from a consistent use of meta language across all key learning areas. A consistent language and identification of skills across all subjects allows students to see that literacy and its skills are used everywhere. Yes, we do need to teach them the basic skills. Yes, we do need to teach them to write, draft, edit, publish. Yes, we do need to correct their syntax, spelling, and punctuation. But as Cope and Calantis say, literacy teaching is not about skills and competence. It is aimed at creating a kind of person, an active designer of meaning with a sensibility open to differences, change, and innovation. So what are the key things that we need to put into our English programs? Let's never forget the importance of a pretest. This has not changed. We just need to widen our scope and understanding that our students bring a range of information and knowledge, and we need to utilize this. We must rethink the how and what we teach in the classroom. The old school literary canon does not fit our new world as easily as it used to. As English teachers, we need to continually re-evaluate the assumptions we held. We used to believe that fairy tales and nursery rhymes were the common ground, the assumption that each student had learnt these as a child. We can no longer expect this. The new common language of reading or viewing might be Game of Thrones, Call of Duty, trending items on YouTube. We do our students and ourselves a disservice if we place no value in these texts. We need to teach students multimodal texts. We need to teach them the language of these, the skills to create them, the skills that they need to read them. We need to incorporate mode shifting or synthesia into what we're doing. That is, the fact that they can be able to put everything together to create meaning. Our students are doing this every day with their phones, their iPads, their laptops, their games. I have watched a 4-year-old learn how to play a game without knowing how to read the words, but being able to read the text as a whole. We need to meet the syllabus expectations, how we do this and still engage the students. Our new HSC English syllabus has its own definitions for the different languages that we use. For example, it talks about what a text is. That is, the key language of a text and literacy. Communication of meaning produced in any media that incorporates language, including sound, print, film, electronic and multimedia representations. They can be spoken, non-verbal, visual or multimodal. It talks about what qualifies as writing. It talks about how representation and the new digital texts that are being used. Therefore, to meet our needs or the needs of our syllabus, we have to engage with a wide range of texts and by default teach the multiliteracies that our students require. As Calansis and Cope say, literacies are additionally about the challenge of being faced with an unfamiliar kind of text and being able to search the clues about its meaning without the barrier of feeling alienated by it and excluded for it. We need to lose the idea that books are the only true text. We need to see that we embraced film and now we need to do the same with websites. Books are not only linear as websites are not linear. We need to ensure that we are using collaborative learning more than just small group tasks. We need to make sure that we are using technology that they are familiar with. They do this outside of school, we need to do it with them. That is, utilize Google Classrooms, Hapara workspaces, and Dashboard. Let's just simply restate everything that we need to do for our new programs. We need to pre-test effectively. We need to have language multimodal texts. We need to incorporate meta language, skills required of digital natives, reading multimodal, creating synthesia, meet a Kara syllabus, and collaborative learning.